100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. It's a beautiful Monday morning. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling. I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. We're live, local, and as I said, ready to roll things out. Also, you can get in on the conversation if you're not local, because we do it on Facebook on the live stream. So you're able to get in on the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I want to encourage you to go out to @MartinHouston35 on Twitter to not only watch the live stream, but also interact with us on a couple of questions out there, asking for your good, bad, and ugly, powered by the Martin Houston Show. Best responses make the airwaves, so go give us your good, bad, and ugly out there. If you're not tuned in on the chat, you can post it there as well. Then also got a great question out there on Twitter @MartinHouston35, calling it the turning point. The turning point for Saturday's game. I had 4 options. You may have another one. Had to kind of debate which one. There was several things in there that could have been there. One was Burton's big catch, 54-yard catch, toss from Jalen Milroe. Number 4, Jalen Milroe's hype as he got injured on his beautiful pass to Mr. Hale and was injured, but his response after that injury, that hype the team. Was that the turning point in the game? Terrion Arnold's big interception in return, or Jam Miller's tackle? That's the 4 I had. There was other things you could have had. You could have had a couple big sacks and key moments. You could have had Ty Simpson's big conversion, 2-point conversion, way to be a team player and ready to respond. Great job by him. So several things that could have been the turning point. So we want to get your thoughts there. Go out and vote, and we'll talk about those results as we move throughout the program. Remember, follow @MartinHouston35 on Facebook, on YouTube and Twitter, and then the Martin Houston 35 MaXSports and Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook, and you'll be able to catch the broadcast in those places. So we're going to have the phone lines open. If you want to get in, you need to go ahead and get in early, because we will be adding Kennington Smith III into the conversation, and I'm going to make sure I give him plenty of time today. We will work in your calls either way, but just know that this segment you'll have a little bit more time than you would with him per se. So go ahead and get in 205-342-9904. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. It is the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. We got a great playbook lined up for you today. As I said, Kennington Smith III will join us, and we'll talk about his good, bad, and ugly and the turning point in the game and keys to his key takeaways from the game. And we'll talk Alabama, Mississippi State as we prepare for another get-right game. We'll bring X into the conversation. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning.
All right. I'm not sure if X was able to join me there or not, but we will keep things rolling. We'll be bringing Kennington into the conversation. Alabama with the big victory, 24-10. Love to know your thoughts. I have a lot of things, that we can talk about. That happened in that game. I think that's going to pay dividends. And the score didn't get to where I had predicted. I had Alabama's offense doing a little more damage than what they ultimately ended up doing. But I had it 41-24. And so when you look at I had the team getting a few more points than they got, but they also had Ole Miss getting a few more points. And I'll take Alabama getting 24, knowing that 7 came off the board. 4 was left on the board with the 1 yard play, and another 4 being left, I think, because we missed, in my opinion, in everybody's mind, we kicked the field goal on 3rd down. And we'll talk about that as well. So lots of things to get to. X, what was some of your big takeaways before we get to Pat?
Yeah, some of my big takeaways from this game was definitely the intensity of the defense, the way that they played. Offensive line played a lot better in the second half. From the first half, Jalen, after the interception, he didn't let that rattle him. He stayed focused, he stayed calm, and was able to hit some big plays throughout the second half that really set the tone for the game. And of course, last week it was Roydale. This week it was Jace McClellan getting hard yards, getting that touchdown that put the icing on the cake.
All right. We talk about that O-line play because I think some of the O-line play is 100% of the booth. So I saw Marquise Mays, respect Marquise, but he said you can't stop. We got to stop blaming the coaches. Until the coaches start showing that they're committed, I'm not going to stop blaming them. I don't blame the defensive coaches because I've seen the defensive coaches be committed to a game plan, to a process, to a way of doing things. We came out the first drive. I said, okay, they're making a commitment. And then what did we do after the first drive? We proceeded to come out the next drive and have 3 drop back passes, or we had a screen pass. We run a screen pass against a team that's not blitzing yet. But against the teams that's been blitzing, we haven't run a screen. I'm like, you don't just run a screen at any point. A screen is a play that you do because you've observed things. This coaching staff, this offensive coordinator has to get better. And I think Saban finally got in his stuff at halftime. That's what I think. And he kind of hinted at, I'm having to be patient with, and he named a couple things, and one of them being at the 1 yard line and not getting the ball, not scoring. Another problem. And some people say, well, we didn't get under center when Bryce Young was here. I complained then too. I don't complain because of results. Neither should Saban or anybody else. I complain because it doesn't make sense when you have the biggest. Y'all need to understand. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to bring Patty in X. We have the biggest offensive line in football. Unless there's a college team that has a bigger. There's not an NFL team that has a bigger offensive line than us. So if there's a bigger football line in football, it's some other college team. But I don't know that for sure. But I've heard that. And we're at the 1 yard line and we snap it back 5+ yards to get one. All right. And it wasn't just he snapped it early, Coach Saban. He snapped it early, high, and to the right. Whew. Anyway.
And we can't say we don't know how to do the quarterback sneak, or this offensive line can't do it, because we did it last week again. This year, both of Ty's touchdowns this year are on QB sneaks.
Made zero sense. All right. Pat, you're in on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind?
I am calling for my humble crow pie this morning. But that first half, Mr. Houston, hey, you a preacher, and you can't tell me that didn't almost make you want to cuss. Whenever the interception, there was nothing but 3 powder blue shirts around him. Then
did you hear what Coach? Did you hear what Coach? Coach said? It was a horrible pass, but did you hear what he said? What happened?
What did he say?
He said that they run what it's called a trap. Okay, it's called a trap, and it's the same defense that Texas got him on his first interception as well. Everybody's running man except for that corner, and that corner's running a zone. Alabama does it, and guess who does it? Texas does it, and Pete Golding does it. Maybe we need to stop running. Where have all of his interceptions been this year, Pat?
It looked almost identical.
They look identical either to the left or to the right, correct?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we want to let him learn to read that a little bit more and stay away from that.
Well,
it was a bad read. He read man. He read man at the snap, and he read it quick. It was a bad misread. First of all, it was a misread because he read man, and it was man with zone under or trap, as Coach said, and he did not double check his. You have a pre-read and a post-snap read. He did not double check, and I think that's what's happened on at least 2 of his interceptions. I don't know about that second one, but the first one and that one the other day, he pre-read man, and then he did not verify his post-snap read. He just let it go. That's what I think.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Well, look, man, we got a guy with a big truck with 5 trucks. Hey, I got 400 gallons of diesel fuel I'll donate to get his butt back to Notre Dame. All right, let me tell you why. You just said it. We got the biggest line in college football, bar none. We have, but what you didn't say was we got the biggest, baddest quarterback and fastest quarterback in college football. And you can't put his butt under center, and you can't take and put Jakeem Otis at your favorite position, fullback, behind him and push his butt over the line in 4 plays. You got first and goal on the 1 yard line, and you can't push him over the line. You better quit football.
Hey, Pat, I got to get the break, but yes, Pat, you know I'm gonna mess with you when you get off the air for picking Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
But, hey, Pat, but are you back on the bandwagon?
But look, I picked Ole Miss for that simple reason: is that my luck's been so bad lately that I've got to be that Alabama had to win.
All right, thanks, Pat. We'll add you back. We'll let you back on the bandwagon, Pat. Welcome back.
Have a blessed day, Martin Houston.
Right.
Bye-bye.
All right, come back on the other side. We'll add Kennington Smith III to the conversation, and we'll add you to the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we do have one wreck to start our Monday morning. It's on the Interstate 2059 eastbound at exit 17 down in York. If you see conditions throughout the day, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get $5,000 up to $8,000 in instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Now, at Townsend Nissan, they're your family in the car business. And I'm Captain Ray.
Don't miss your chance to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Open 24/7. So come on in for nonstop gaming action. You'll find the latest, hottest, most exciting games around. And you'll love the fun bonuses and big jackpots. Plus, you can watch and wager on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
A lot of Kanoi's energy started to bounce back.
She has a lot of puppy moments, and she'll be 14 this summer.
What did these dog parents do for their dogs? They switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-size bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another warm day today. The sky partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers through tonight. The high today 88, the low tonight 66. For tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the high 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 69 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
You know, I think you have to take advantage of the lessons, and, I meet with the quarterbacks on Sunday. I meet with them on Thursday. And I just have some things that, okay, here's what you really did well, and here's some things I want you to look at, whether it's footwork and how you're setting up and how it affects your accuracy, what maybe the other team plays or does. So you're really just trying to teach, and I think you want to try to teach in a way that's going to impact and affect them in a positive way. And, Jalen's really good about that. I mean, he really wants to learn. He really listens, and Tommy does a good job with them. So it takes a lot of patience on my part when you score 5 touchdowns and have them called back. So that takes patience too. It takes patience when you're 1st and 1 at the 1 and you don't score a touchdown. That takes patience. So I got a lot of things testing my patience.
All right. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. I'm going to give you a couple of thoughts on that. We're going to add Kennington Fifth III to the conversation. Then we're going to get our callers in here. But before we do that, I want to remind you about Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Billy's Cooking Restaurant, 3702 Alabama Avenue Northeast. They have some great rib and wing party platter combos that you need to get, especially since it's going to be a night game. You have all day long to get out there and eat and enjoy those wings and rib. Call them up at 205-632-8617 or stop by. Located directly across from Holt High School. Open Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. and tell them that Martin Houston told you to stop by. They'll take care of you. They also have great food going each and every day. Wing Wednesday, 50-cent wings, Fish Friday, and Soul Food Sunday. All right, guys, real quick before I bring Kennington in, just want you to listen to this. Nick Saban just told us about patience. But I want to highlight something. Xavier asked me, what do you think about Jalen and what McElroy said about how much of a cancer Miro is? What did Saban just say that Jalen was great about? Taking coaching.
Wanting to learn.
And taking coaching, being willing to learn. He does a really good job with that. But last week, we were told that he was negative and he responded poorly and all that. So all spring, all summer, all fall, he's been really good. But last week, he responded so poorly that you took him from first team to third team. Come on now. I told y'all that was a plant. Told you that was a plant story. You have to learn to listen to what's being said, because sometimes the truth will come out. All right, let's bring in Kennington Smith the third. Kennington, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing well. Well, Kennington, you have any response to that what I just said? We were told last week that Jalen Milroe was not we never heard. I don't think we ever heard that directly as poisonous as other people reported it. But I think the truth just came out about how Jalen Milroe has handled this entire quarterback battle, and he showed that class on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, take into account how he's feeling. I mean, he has a great first game, and then the Texas game did have its ups and downs, but ultimately the loss wasn't solely pinned on him. And then, we had this South Florida kind of fiasco, and afterwards, Saban comes out and says that he really started Buckner and Simpson for pretty much no other reason other than he said that he promised them playing time early in the season. You really didn't hear him say, outperforming and, how tight the race was. I mean, he said it was a tight race, but, he said the main catalyst for starting them and giving them a look was, more based on wanting to give them an opportunity, more so them kind of taking an opportunity from Milroe based off of the things that they had shown. And that's frustrating for Jalen Milroe. And he responded in a way that I'm sure most of us would if we were in a position in our jobs where we felt like we were performing at an adequate level and we were devoted, almost without cause. So, he took it, he took his lumps that week in practice and he didn't handle it well. And then he, turned it around and was a great teammate against South Florida. And then you see him come out and have a bounce back performance against Ole Miss. So, I think we're probably going to look back on this as a blip in the road, but by all accounts, Jalen Milroe's been a great teammate and a great leader. And when you listen to the players speak about Jalen Milroe, whether it's on the offensive or the defensive side, it's pretty clear, who is, the leader in terms of, which quarterback the roster gravitates towards the most.
Yep. All right, we got Alan, who's been patient. Alan, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Xavier, Kennington, and Martin. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Pat, don't worry about it. I got plenty of fuel. Even though if it go to $7 a gallon again, I got plenty of them to get them out of there. Don't even worry about that a little bit. I begin to think that our offense coordinator, he does not know how to coach a player of Melrose mentality and his athletic ability. And I'm beginning to believe that. And if Northwestern still wants him, I got the fuel and ready for him to go. And also, do y'all not remember when Alabama played? I think it was 2009, something like that. Maybe when Arenas was there, and we barely beat Tulane. I think it was 20-16 or 20-6, and we had to get a defensive touchdown. And Arenas took one back for a touchdown, and we didn't really do anything in that game. That's after we beat Clemson in the first game of the year. This sort of reminds me of that.
Yeah,
my last thing is this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
And to paraphrase Dennis Green, Ole Miss is who I thought they were. Pete Golden is the same Pete Golden. He won't never change. He's the same one, and they're exactly who I thought they were. And my last thing is this: it is so funny right now to watch everybody talk about Deion and what he did, and that team only won one game last year, and people just dogging him out right now. And Stephen A. Smith and Terrell Owens is hilarious right now. So I'm out. I'll let y'all talk.
All right, Kennington, you can respond to that question about Alabama's response and Tommy Rees, who's still getting a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'm not as well versed in Alabama history to speak on the similarities to that '09 year. So I will leave that to y'all too. But as far as Tommy Rees, I do think that he did make some adjustments that made things a little bit easier for Jalen Milroe. We saw a few designed quarterback runs. Both of them went for first downs as well. It almost seems like that's like an automatic positive yard gainer when you have that look of Jalen Milroe kind of taking a direct and then running off tackle. I like that. I would like to see that continue. There were a few zone reads as well between Milroe and McClellan. That was a nice change of pace from what we saw against the Texas game. So you're starting to see a little bit of Rees adapting to Milroe and kind of putting him in positions to be comfortable. I think it's, at this point, we kind of have to chalk it up to a work in progress. I think, obviously, fans want it to just be seamless between Rees and Mo and just, him just building this ultimate game plan. I thought that was the expectation from my end as well. So I do think that is a fair criticism. But we started to see a little bit of, Rees and Milroe kind of getting on one accord, and it'll be interesting to see how that progresses in these next two games when Alabama goes on the road.
X, you have anything on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with it, with the little bit of changes that we did see. It was early on it happened, and then we kind of went away from it. Second half, we go back to it. But I don't know if y'all saw College Game Day. Notre Dame said they're not taking any refunds on Tommy Rees. So we're stuck with them, so we got to make it work.
Yeah, well, of course, they have Sam Hartman. I don't know how good the other guy is either. Wonder would they be saying the same thing after watching the Ohio State game? You can score 40 points on a lot of people, but can you score 20 points on Ohio State? Okay, so just think about that for a second. All they had to do was run the clock out at the end, and they couldn't do it. So, but I will say this before I bring in Robert. I don't think it's the game plan, Kennington, and I think the problem is he can't stick with it. That's my thoughts. He because the game plan was obviously there. We ran it. The first drive was perfect, and then other side it just didn't happen. So we will see. But let's get Robert in. Robert, you in with on the Alabama One hotline with the crew. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey guys, hold on a second. Oh, Miami scored again? Oh my gosh.
We got to give out a shout out to Tua. What that boy? Hey, listen, the Alabama quarterback's taking over the league, man. Jalen had his coming out party last year, still doing great. We might end up with a Eagles Dolphins party, but real quick, I want to cut you off. Go ahead.
If it wasn't for the Steelers, that would be all right with me. Yeah, guys. I think Nick Saban told that offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees, dude, if I get another play like that on first and goal again, you're going to be get the Lane Kiffin treatment when we go to Mississippi State. You're just going to be left behind. The bus is going to leave. I mean, that was ridiculous. That was totally ridiculous. First and goal on the 1 yard line with Milroe as your quarterback. That wouldn't have been 3 quarterback sneak for me. That would have been 4 quarterback sneaks for me.
Correct.
Yeah, the guy, he's showing himself Micklin's Miss Bill O'Brien right now. I think he's a plant by Notre Dame to ruin Alabama's season at this point. It's like, the guy, seriously, dude? What is adjustments in the second half? That's great. But why wouldn't we get these kind of adjustments in the first half? It was definitely a tale of 2 halves in that game. The second half Alabama team, that team can go the distance. That team could beat anybody in the nation if we can get that kind of play like we did in the second half of that game. The offensive line stepped it up to a level we were beginning to think they weren't capable of. But in the second half, it was, look at that hole for the running back. Look at that hole for the running back. Wow, Milroe's got 5 seconds back there? That's what we were looking for. And you guys mentioned about Saban and the game last week. That was my contention too. I think Nick Saban was saying, hey, okay, I'm going to give you your shot. This is your shot. And Let's see what you can do. And that's fair. That's completely fair. You got to tell those guys, I'm going to give you a shot, but you never do. So, okay, he had his opportunity. He showed them. He showed them what they weren't capable of, at least right now, and why he's making the decision he made. And then now it's we're ready to roll as far as this team can take us this season. You know what the quarterback is. No one looking over his shoulder. And it's either ride or die Miro, but he gave them their chance. That's all anybody could ask for.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Great insight. Got to get the break, and we'll respond to your thoughts and comments on the other side. More with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9. We got Kennington Smith III in on the conversation.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we do have one wreck to start our Monday morning. It's on the Interstate 2059 eastbound at exit 17 down in York. If you see conditions throughout the day, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get $2, $5, up to $8,000 in instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Now, at Townsend Nissan, they're your family in the car business. And I'm Captain Ray.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, Crimson Tide fans, if you have an automobile problem while you're in town for the game, call Jeff's Towing. Anytime your car won't go and you need a tow, call Jeff's Towing, 205-361-3997.
Join Tide 100.9 this Friday from 12 to 2 for Fridays at the Free. Come see Lars Anderson and Matt Coulter for Big Noon Sports live at Innisfree Irish Pub, Tuscaloosa's best bar for 25 years and counting. Innisfree's Irish Pub has delicious pub food with an Irish flair. Come have the Innisfree Lucky Lunch, a delicious meat and three, while Lars and Matt get you ready for the Bama game this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown Tuscaloosa.
Welcome to the Continental.
From the world of John Wick comes a Peacock original 3-part event that takes us back to 1970s New York. The Continental.
This institution wields power beyond your imagination. Let's take this house and everything that comes with it.
The Continental, from the world of John Wick. Streaming now.
And away we go.
Only on Peacock.
Yep, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's going to be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Yeah, I think the momentum of the game and those course of the plays that you described right there, really shifted for us. The energy went up, and I think that was demonstrated by how we continue to play the rest of the game. So I'm always happy to see guys make those kind of plays.
That's Nick Saban responding to a question regarding the 3 plays in a row right there. Jalen Milroe's beautiful pass. I'm talking about the dude, y'all. I don't care what anybody says. Do what this guy does well, and Alabama can be elite. Passes to the middle of the field across his face, and if you run a deep route to the, if you run a route to the outside, make it deep. Don't run into that or make it short. Don't run into that 10 to 12 yard stuff. He's gonna throw that. That's gonna be an interception. Out route in the 10 to 12 yards, even though the end zone, we were close to the end zone, he threw that about 10 to 12 yards out there in the end zone. It's a pick. That's what he did against Texas twice. That's what he did. Go back and look. I mean, just let him go deep. across the middle or in the flat or swing routes or shuttle. I mean, do what he does, and then don't run the quarterback. Hey, listen, if you can run the same running play over and over and over, handing it off, then run the quarterback sweep multiple times. I mean, I'm sorry, Kennington. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but anyway, if you want to respond to Robert's comments, you're welcome to do so. But we were talking about the turning point, and I put up a post about what was the turning point in the game. We're going to get to the turning point because I think all three of those plays, people gave credit for different things. But I think just about every play that people call a turning point all started as a result of one person. One person, I think, and we've talked about that a little bit. But before we get to that, Todd, you're in with Kennington Smith III at Skinny Kenny _ on Twitter, The Athletic. What you got for him?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. I tell you, having the biggest offensive line in the country, it's got a double-edged sword because you can see the speed rush on that outside is really, really, really hurting us. You can tell Milrose still does not trust his left tackle because you notice when he escapes to the right, he escapes to the right. I know he's a right-handed guy, and that's his normal escape route, but I think that's even being pushed even more to the lack of trust to that left-sided guy. But you can see that the team started running things.
Let me ask you a question, Todd. What would you do if you had the left tackle that struggled in the pass game, pass blocking?
I would set him on the bench, and I would definitely get his attention. That let him know that hey, we got another guy that really wants his spot. We're going to give him a shot. So,
but if you don't put him on the bench, undoubtedly benching may or may not be an option. He's on the field. What are you going to do? There's a way to help him.
Yeah, let's run the ball.
No, but you can't run the ball every play. You have to pass the ball. What do you do?
I get that. Yeah.
All right. So, and I'm gonna answer that question. But finish your thought so I can let Kennington run. Go ahead. Did we lose Todd?
No. Oh.
No. I'm here. I thought X was to say something, but there was one time where Milroe, he would have stepped up into the pocket, But I mean, that's neither here nor there now. But I really like to see that. I think the turning point of the game wasn't a player. I think it was a coach. Like you said earlier, I think Saban got in their ears, especially the coaches' ears, and said, "Tighten this crap up, man. Run this, run this, run this." And they did it, and they were successful. I think Saban needs to get the credit for that halftime speech, not to the players, but to the coaches.
Kennington?
Yeah, I think, first when we're talking about how to help the left tackle, I think, if you're not going to be moving the pocket on pass plays or call it more runs, you have to put one of your tight ends on that left side and ship that speed rusher. I mean, they have capable blocking tight ends. It's definitely not going to come from the running back room. I think we've seen how much they've struggled in pass protection. So you put a CJ Dupree, a Robbie Oates, Danny Lewis over there on that left side and help them out. As far as, the caller before the break, I think the crux of Alabama right now is that the second half is the team that we expected to see entering the season. And, that is great and it was their best stretch of football, but there has not been to date a wire-to-wire consistent effort from Alabama against a formidable opponent, right? Like Middle Tennessee was a dominating win, but we know that that's not the level of competition that Alabama is going to see. Against requisite competition, there's not been a wire-to-wire, start-to-finish, consistent, impressive performance, and that's the next thing that the team is chasing. So the blueprint is there. We saw the snapshot of what Alabama's team could be. The question is, is that the team that we're going to see week over week? And, when is the moment where they're going to all put it together and have that, start to finish dominant performance?
X, you got anything? All right, I don't think it. Listen, Kennington, this is where I disagree with everybody. Running backs don't have to be great in pass protection to help our left tackle. This is all they have to do. It's a chip block. We're not saying make them the pass blocker. If they hit that speed rusher's outside shoulder, all they have to do is take their hand and just hit his shoulder. It turns his body. It gives that big-bodied left tackle, Kennington, a chance to take another step back and then slow that guy down. That's one way. That's one way. The other way is you move the pocket. You move the pocket. Either you move the pocket directly to him, where you have that big body guy just running left lateral to as a rollout. But guess what? You could also have that running back come up and help close out, or you could have the tight end, to your point, do the same thing. Here's the other thing. Watch this. Even if you don't have the tight end chip block, Kennington, if you put a tight end there, where does that guy have to get? Another gap wider, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, just forget him even helping block. Don't give that guy a short edge. Even if you don't even have to put a tight end. You can just make it an H back. It doesn't even have to be on the line of scrimmage. But when you do that, because if that guy doesn't come outside and you notice he's not widening out, then run the quarterback sweep where you have Oots pin that guy and then Proctor loop around to get the outside linebacker. And then you got a running back leading around the left side, and you have Milroe on the edge with the ball in his hand. I mean, it's so many things that you can do that would help this team that it's like we almost refuse to do it. And when we do it, it's like he can't keep doing it. So I'd like to get your response. It's not whether or not they've put in the plays, because we saw those plays, Kennington. We saw some plays to Milroe. But we didn't see the first drive play calling until the second half again. I mean, How is that possible?
I wish I had a tangible response. To answer your question, are we going to see that consistently, or is it possible? I mean, is it possible? Obviously it is, but are we going to see it? I can't with 100% confidence say that we are, just because we have not seen it yet. You know, there is the difference between cannot and have not. It's like, Tommy Rees, has shown the ability to call the correct plays and put Alabama in the right situations, but consistency, again, it feels like that's the word of the day. That's what fans are looking for. That's what we as, working media are looking to see, is just, consistency and, true dedication to Jalen Milroe and all the other pieces on the offense to put them in a successful position. It's not just, putting Milroe in the right position. He has to, align Alabama in the right way to where, the entire unit can function. So, we are 4 games in. There's a lot of season to go, but it has not been the seamless transition, that maybe many were expecting. But Reese did come in, and there was some doubt about if he was going to be able to do the job. So maybe this is kind of par for the course in terms of early season struggles. But Alabama's going on the road next week. Mississippi State isn't great, but they are an SEC opponent, and this does seem like, the type of game where the opportunity will be there for Alabama's offense to right the ship before Texas A&M.
This is definitely a get-right game. I want you to respond to this. I want both of you guys to respond to this, and then I got some rapid fires for you, Kennington, on the other side. But I want you to think about this during the break. We saw our left tackle get benched in the first half. We saw Dalcourt get hurt in the first half. That offensive line at the end of the first half played the best I saw the offensive line play up until that point. Coming out in the second half, he went back to the starters, and that was the best I saw the offensive line play. Did the Alabama coaching staff luck into getting this offensive line right by injuries and just continue bad play because they were refusing to put other guys in? We'll talk about it on the other side. Did Alabama find their secret ingredient on Saturday?
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we do have one wreck to start our Monday morning. It's on the Interstate 2059 eastbound, exit 17 down in York. If you see conditions throughout the day, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get 5 up to $8,000 in instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Now, at Townsend Nissan, they're your family in the car business. And I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. It was a deadly weekend in the area. Just after 9 last night, 24-year-old Demetrius Wyndham Jr. was shot and killed in the Northport neighborhood of Northwood Lake. No other details have been released about the incident in the 3900 block of Northwood Lake Drive West. The multi-agency violent crimes unit on the scene for much of the night investigating. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
On the next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Monday. We'll have a much better feel for where this Alabama football team is headed. We'll talk with Max Howell at 7:30, and then we'll talk with Doug Bell at 8:15. Talk a little Ryder Cup on Monday.
Inside the Locker Room, weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
All of the West Alabama high school football scores every Friday night all season long on Tide 100.9. High school score updates brought to you by 4th District Congressman Robert Adderholt.
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811, brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Take a moment and think of one thing that you really wanted to do recently, but you didn't because your foot, leg, or back pain got in the way. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet Store, and that's why we're here, to help you get back out there. Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet Store. They're designed to alleviate foot, knee, hip, and back pain, plus provide improved balance, more comfort, and, well, a better life. Try them for yourself with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet Store.
Visit us at 1800 McFarland Boulevard or goodfeet.com.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Into the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports. We have Kennington Smith III in with us. Kennington, tell them where they can find you and what you got coming up, sir.
Yeah, find me on Twitter at SkinnyKenny _ SKINNYKENNY _ theathletic.com under Kennington Smith III. But you can expect more analysis pieces on the offense and everything else in between, player features and a few more deep dive features into things outside of, just the players on the field that I'm excited about, within the next few weeks. So stay locked to the content and, we're going to have a lot of fun entering SEC play.
All right. That's at SkinnyKenny _ on Twitter, and go to the Athletic and look up Kennington Smith III for more conversation. All right, Kennington, what was your turning point in that game? I had four options. I had Jalen Milroe hyping the team after his injury, his response to when he got his breath back. I had the Jam Miller's big tackle. I had Terrion Arnold, who I picked as my player of the game, and I think he did well enough with his interception and pass breakups to have that he could have been selected for that. And the last one I had was the deep ball pass, Burton making the adjustment from over his right shoulder to his left shoulder to make that big catch. That was mine, but you may have other options.
Yeah, I went with Milrose, touchdown pass. It just felt like that was the moment where, the game kind of broke open for Alabama. Like that was the first of a line of plays that completely seized the momentum in Alabama's favor. The Jermaine Burton deep ball, was a great moment, but that drive, I believe that was a drive that ended with like the shorted down, and they had a touchdown on that drive that was negated by a penalty. So it was kind of like a sloppy into the drive. And the game wasn't fully in hand at that point. So the comeback next drive, Milroe gets the touchdown pass. You felt the energy in the crowd, and then the next two plays after that just kind of completely shifted in Alabama's favor. So the Milroe play was kind of like the catalyst to all that, in my opinion. So that's why I have it as the turning point.
All right. X, what about your turning point?
The interception set up the touchdown, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's that cascade of plays. It's the interception that led to the touchdown. That kind of got the game going. It was a big momentum shift, and it was the first time I feel like we got a turnover this season, and we did something with it. And so I kind of put those two things into one. The big defensive play that sets up the big offensive play, and that's where the mood and the shift changes, and you felt like Alabama was going to hold on and dominate this thing down the stretch.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, Jalen Milroe's response to me was a turning point for this reason. Not because I think Terrion Arnold's play contributes. I think Burton's play contributes. I think Ty Simpson's play was huge. I thought that his response, being ready, I loved their reaction on the sideline after the play. I love Jam's thing. But, guys, I text Ryan Fowler as soon as Jalen Milroe jumped up and ran to the sideline and got the crowd got hyped, but that was the first time this year I've seen any emotion from this team, not from an individual, but the team got hyped, which I think, got the offensive line hype, which got Ty Simpson hype, which got Jam Miller hype. All of that was in succession. Then that led to that defense that was dominant the rest of the game. Ole Miss had nothing. The only time Ole Miss had any success was when they went flat out 4 downs. And and I think some of that even had prevent. And we were even aggressive on that drive, Kennington.
Yeah, definitely. And talking to the players after the game, they're just like, when you see your quarterbacks and even Jam Miller, like you talk about what those 3 plays meant for the course of the game, seizing the momentum and establishing a level of physicality and toughness. Those are 3 skilled players on offense that set the tone.
Right.
You have no choice as a defense. When you see your quarterbacks and your running backs going out there playing physical and setting the tone, you have no choice but to match that energy and take it a step further. And that's what happens. So, if Alabama continues to progress and let's say they do end up playing for a championship or winning a championship, I think that we're going to look back on those moments as the ignition or like the starting point of what Alabama's 2023 season turned out to be.
I asked about turning point of the game, but I believe that if we end up with a great season, that was the turning point of the season as well. What were your big takeaways from the game?
Yeah, I think again, we have to understand that this team is going to be a work in progress. I don't think there's any sweeping declarations that can be made just because the first half was so ugly, it cannot be ignored despite how great the second half was. So is Alabama going to have that wire-to-wire performance that we're looking for? Second takeaway, obviously a lot of this season has been offense in the spotlight, but the defense is humming right now. They've played really, really well through the course of the season. I know the Texas game had its ebbs and flows, but the defense is looking great. Terrion Arnold, to your point, has been really good this year. I mean, he is really coming into his own as a cornerback, and the play that he made on that interception with the ball in his hands, I feel like he has to be the kick returner, right? I mean, you have to have a player of that, with that type of dynamics with the ball in his hand. You saw him take the kick back against South Florida. You saw him, with the interception return, taking it to basically midfield that scored the touchdown. He's just a playmaker. So, in addition to him playing great at cornerback, I'd like to see that shift at kick returner as well.
Yeah, and we can get more thoughts from you if we need to. But what's your thoughts, Alabama taking on Mississippi State?
Yeah, this game, I don't think this game does not bode well for Mississippi State. Their offense did have a bounce back game against South Carolina, but for all intents and purposes, this has been one of the worst offenses in the SEC. Alabama's defense is rolling right now. I don't see a way where Mississippi State is going to put together enough drives to make it a competitive game. I think this is a quintessential deal right there for the offense going on the road. I wouldn't be surprised to see offensive line rotations either, but I do think Alabama wins this game fairly easily.
Yeah, and real quick, about 30-second response to the blitz and pressure packages that Steele and company has put together.
Yeah, really like how they're getting pressure, utilizing Dallas Turner Braswell, just letting them pin their ears back and get to the quarterback, not dropping them back in coverage. Deontay Lawson, superstar in the making, love what he's doing as well. Hopefully they get him back, but Jihad Campbell is more than formidable as well. So I like the blitz packages to Steele.
Yeah, I thought the linebackers, when Deontay went out, played lights out. So I was proud of the young guys. Thanks, Kennington. Tell them one more time where they can find you.
At skinnykenny_theathletics.com, Kennington Smith. Dropping me on.
All right. Hey, man, thanks. And by the way, Blind Squirrel Sport won again, y'all. The Georgia guy has won 2 weeks in a row. All right, just FYI. He had a score of 24-19. So he was the closest total point. So congratulations to him. Hey, X and I'll be back tomorrow. That was Kennington Smith III at Skinny Kenny _. Thanks, Noah. Thanks to all the caller, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of this show. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll add DC to the conversation. Got lots of things to get to. We didn't get to the good, bad, and ugly. We'll add that to the conversation on tomorrow. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, and all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Thanks to all those comments, guys. We'll add them to the conversation on tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.